From evil lair to goblin flair, today we're taking a look at a couple of houses made with RP in mind. And we're going to start our journey at a dark cave with even darker secrets. This is the home of Medizinmann on plot number 21. Now on the outside we have what appears to be an unassuming cave. The rock formation's broken up only by the glow of the sentinel statue above the entrance and the foliage growing underneath. The cave even features a secret entrance hidden by some foliage off to the side. And speaking of sides, let's take a look at the inside. Now, upon entering the cave, we can see that the atmosphere is immaculate. Medizinmann requested that we tour this home using the inky black potion, and I have to say, it adds tremendous effect. The first major opening in the cave is this fantastic overgrowth all throughout. I love seeing a moonwell-like glow as the water flows around and underneath the stone structure that we have here. As we come up the rocky ramp, I love to see how these night elf lampposts are made to look like they're growing out of the cavern walls themselves. The top of the ramp lets us see the fountain from which the water flows, but as we march deeper into the cavern, we get the sense that all of this serenity is covering up something far more sinister. The overgrowth suddenly stops, and we're instead met with cobwebs and candles all the way through. At the end of the hall, we see the exit door, marking that second entrance we saw on the outside, and coming to the left, we are met with this awesome fire cavern aesthetic. It looks straight out of Ragefire Chasm. The ambiance provided by the inky black potion is perfect. I love seeing the lava pour down. Such a creative use of the Shaman Order Hall lava ball. As we come to the bottom, we can see that the lava itself wraps all around the perimeter of this narrow cavern. And if we were to follow these dark, winding paths all the way to their end, we're instead met with a sudden change of pace. The stone cavern is replaced with stone walls, and as we take a look to the left, the true purpose of this cave is revealed. The centerpiece here is awesome. I love seeing the fire coming out of its eyes and mouth, how the dark energies of the void flow into it from below, while above we can see that void structure holding the beast in place. And as we come into the final room, we are met with Medizinmann sitting on their void throne, where they say,
"Welcome, adventurer. So you finally found me in my hideout. You are a fool and should not have come here. For here the most powerful beast of all time is being imbued with the power of the void. It will serve our purposes, and thus bring about the final victory for the void. Prepare for your demise. This place will be your grave."
Now, after meeting the big bad, what better place to go than a D&D-inspired tavern? This is the High Mountain Hideaway by Priscea on plot number 29. Now, while visiting this home on stream, Priscea actually stopped by and took the time to write out a guided tour. So here is the High Mountain Hideaway Tavern in the creator's own words. This is their take on the classic D&D tavern, equipped with an outdoor seating area alongside a small street market for passing travelers, all designed to evoke the majestic high mountains, while also paying homage to the Tauren nearby in Mulgore. And inside, all adventurers are welcome. There's plenty of seating for food and just wasting time away with one another, as well as some more private meeting tables. The tavern features a fully equipped kitchen to serve passerbys and locals alike, and if anyone has any special requests, they can always knock on Priscea's door right here, where they also run a small hunting service on the side, available to track down any of those hard-to-find things that someone might ask for. And of course, Priscea says a D&D tavern wouldn't be complete without rooms to stay in. Up first, we've got the cheapest room. Through the curtains, we come to a custom-made terrace and staircase leading to the tavern's duos room. Upstairs, meanwhile, they have the noble suite. And this tavern even has an executive suite hidden away, reserved only for those with precious coin to spend. Decorating the main hall here are a series of artifacts and memoirs, all from Priscea's own adventuring days. These mementos are a reminder of a life well lived, but as Priscea says, they've put that adventuring life behind them so that they can now bestow it upon countless others to come. And now we go from fantasy tavern to sci-fi timeshare. This is the Mecha-Tower of Terror by Khlamps on plot number 20. The outside features a long walkway ramp up to the floating home itself, being elevated by thrusters placed at the bottom. And one fun feature of this home is how much it gets along with the neighbors. If we were to come to the top and turn around, we can see that our neighbor has pointed a giant laser of friendship and camaraderie directly at the home. And the inside is unlike anything we've seen before. The creator said they wanted to make something that was both a challenge tower and a shared space, while at the same time hitting that gnomish cobbled together feel. Coming past the mechanical devices that stretch up to the ceiling, we're met with both a stair and a door. The door underneath the stairs leads to a hidden bedroom, while if we were to take the stairs themselves, we're met with the first floor of this challenge tower. We can see the different doodads and devices all over the place, and this is where the tower itself splits. There's actually multiple different routes to the top. Coming up the path to the right here, we're met with the second floor of the apartments, which we'll get back to later, and following this path all the way to the top leads us to a hot tub with a beautiful view of the Mecha-Tower of Terror itself. Now, if we were instead to take the left path, we're met with a lovely little seating area on the first platform. The wooden beam leads to a viewing area featuring the escape tube we'll get a better look at later, while the stairs up lead us to the main amenities of the tower. Coming through the golden doorway and taking a trip to the right, we're met with what looks to be an empty relaxation area. But of course, behind the secret bookshelf door is hiding what the creator describes as a secret grow room for wacky tobacco. The first door on the left leads to the guild office for the Gearwalks Cartel, featuring a cool and imposing desk for the officers. Taking the door to the right of the office leads us to an interesting perch, where once again the tower branches off into multiple different directions. In this case, we're gonna hop up through here and come through this door into the Golden Gear Pub. I love the use of gold dye on all of the items, the incorporation of different mechagon and gnomish decor to add to the aesthetic, and to the right of the bar is what Khlamps describes as the Secret Angler's VIP room. And finally, if we were to come past the guild office all the way down the hall, we are actually met with the apartment building. Going inside, we can see how the Khlamps lives, with this lovely little bed and some plushies around it, and the apartment even features this nifty little escape tube. The very top of the tower features some seating and a viewing deck to look out upon the tower. And finally, to finish things off, we've got an update from the legendary Custodian. Now, those of you who caught the last update to the Custodian saga will know the Custodian is now running a junkyard, and today Custodian's going to share with us the magnificent improvements that they've made, starting with this remarkable sign that indicates to all of the neighbors that the yard with all of the junk in it is in fact the junkyard. Installing the sign was necessary, Custodian says, because people need a little bit of guidance in that regard, of course due to the magnificent opulence that is this plot. Magnificent opulence such as this beautiful cactus here that Custodian had imported all the way from the foreign land of 50 yards west. Off to the right here, we can see a streaming Kaja Blast fountain filled to the brim with the best Kaja Cola flavor on the market. Meanwhile, off in the back, we've got the new and improved Custodian throne room. This throne room has been vastly improved with the addition of being slightly further off the ground, which, as Custodian explains, canonically means that Custodian is now taller. And in case you were wondering, that red chair to the left there happens to be a secondary throne for Custodian's rat dog. And just in front of the home, we can see the newly added skull of one of Custodian's actually, it was found in the oil just like that, so that's why that's there. On the inside of the home, we can see that Custodian has replaced their pantry with a brand new sink. That way, Custodian doesn't have to source all of their cooking water from the bathroom. On top of the sink, we can see one of Custodian's brand new inventions, something they're calling SOAP. They're still figuring out what exactly that acronym stands for, but they are sure that the S stands for soap. That onion ring on the floor there is actually from Custodian's rat named Dog, who's been stealing them from the freezer ever since he figured out he's short enough to avoid the security hammers. Custodian then gives us a taste of their gentle, soft-touch approach to rat training, screaming the rat's name and yelling at it about eating onion rings in the bedhouse. Then, as if by magic, Dog emerges from the doghouse, scampers along the floor, cleans up the onion ring, and falls right back asleep. Before moving on, Custodian Custodian then shows us their newly installed disco ball. This one on a gold chain on account of it's more expensive that way. Custodian then leads us on to a tour of the remodels in the home. Custodian says the bathroom hasn't changed too much, except insofar as much as such as they bought this fancy 8,000 gold light fixture and also installed a vent in the ceiling for cents. They didn't specify how many cents, but I would put it around 60, maybe 70. Through the curtains in the back, we can see Custodian has made some major improvements to their cinema, starting with a brand new bar serving authentic Pandaren cuisine. They're calling it a cinema now, Custodian says, because they heard it from somewhere and it sounds much more sophisticated than what they were calling it before. The acronym is CINEMA once Custodian can figure out what it all stands for, although they are sure that the C stands for cinematic. And speaking of cinematics, Custodian is still screening that flick about elves that hate the world existing or whatever, but now with some new and improved visuals. As Custodian expertly demonstrates, if you simply walk into this corner here, disconnect from the game, log back in about 2 minutes later while I stand there silently thinking this was all a bit, and then walk right back into the corner, the screen itself will actually change from Illyria to Xalatath and back again. It's one of those optical illusion things. And this was genuinely amazing. There are no editing tricks at work here. It really does swap between the two paintings depending on how you're looking at it. On the way out, Custodian shows us the new upgrades they've made to the film projector. Upgrades like it now working with film, since that's sort of important to screening a film. Following Custodian up to the top of the cavern, they let us know that the boxing ring has also gone through a full and complete remodel. They wanted it to be more of a grand entrance, they explained, while the box office itself really hasn't changed too much, other than the addition of this large chain which is perfectly designed to keep those wandering feet away. Behold, Custodian says, the boxing ring 4 some kind of 0.0. These improvements were needed, Custodian says, because they were having issues with people in the audience inadvertently losing the mock gorilla, which, as you know, really gets in the way of a prize-fixing scheme. The lovely addition in the back here is Mr. Gearskull. He doesn't serve any real purpose, Custodian says, except looking all intimidating-like. Although, as a special feature, touching Mr. Gearskull allows you to taste blue, which may or may not be related to Mr. Gearskull being extremely filled with electricity. As a man of science myself, once Custodian's back was turned, I made sure to take one for the team and test it out. Mwah. I'm happy to report I can taste blue, and it tastes exactly like cardiac arrest. Outside the box office, Custodian comes clean to us. They let us know that they had actually been lying the entire time. There were changes to the box office. The cactus in the back there has now been replaced with a palm tree. I hope that we can all come together to forgive Custodian for their transgressions, and I have faith that moving forward, Custodian will be a better person. Back at the prize room, Custodian shows us that they have acquired a variety of new prizes, such as this Draenei Lumi thingy and, a lamp. As we come across the walkway, Custodian shows us the new and improved, renovated, upgraded, extrapolated, innovated laundry room. A laundry room which features this state-of-the-art washing machine that is capable of boiling an entire lobster in no more than 11 and January 2nd minutes. This genius innovation is also why Custodian happens to smell like lobster. Custodian lets us know that they've actually been researching Kultiran lobster recipes lately, and they found that the Kultirans do it all wrong, mostly because none of them own a washing machine. Meanwhile, over on the left is Custodian's whatchamacallit punchy baggie, and Custodian must really like the whatchamacallit punchy baggie because they get so excited that they literally explode. That was supposed to go differently, Custodian says, but it's okay. It happens to everyone. With that out of the way, Custodian brings us on to their garage. It's a little sparse right now, they warn, because they've got their mecha-crawler parked over at the other property. In the back of the garage is Custodian's gigantic lawn flamingo. Custodian says they had to move it here on account of Drakthir kept trying to duel it, but it doesn't respond to duel requests, so they were just getting mad at it and clawing it all up. While just to the left of that is Custodian's fancy high mountain canoe that they had imported directly from Pandora High Mountain. It's from High Mountain, it's authentic, they had it verified, signed the papers themselves. And now, Custodian says, Behind this door is, well, there's been talk of an HOA, you see, which stands for Homeowners Association. And to be clear, Custodian is at war with the HOA if it ever comes to exist in a formal capacity. So, Custodian says, remember that place which what done exploded called There's Some More or whatever? Anyway, Arcano bombs. Brilliant technology, but limited, flawed, only filled with one particular school of magic. So, Custodian asked themselves, hey self, to which they responded, sup yo, hey, so what if we puts like however many schools of magic there is in an Arcano bomb? Which Custodian self said, well, that wouldn't be an Arcano bomb, of course, it would be a however so many schools of magic bomb. After some thought, Custodian said, whatever, let's do it, and so they did it. This is Custodian's however so many schools of magic bomb. Custodian warns us not to stand too close because it does in fact turn you pink, something to do with combining all the little magics together. But lucky for you, I was willing to brave the side effects to get us a close-up look at Custodian's however so many magic you put in it bomb. After a quick trip to the ER, Custodian says it's time to go to the mole machine. If you remember the last chapter, this mole machine was specifically engineered to take us right outside of Custodian's house. But now, after some upgrades, it takes us here. This is the cave at the other end of the mole machine, which is totally underground and not above ground on a random studio lot in Broomwood Hollow and Founders Point, so don't ask. Inside, we can see Custodian's grand home continues. This here, Custodian says, is their basement workshop and lounge area, which also includes a sentinel trap for in case if the sentinels find the cave and pursue Custodian through it. I was given permission to test the sentinel trap, and of course I did. Custodian then showed me a secret way out of the trap that I need to censor so the sentinels don't find it, and on our way up, I decided to voluntarily test it yet again. After multiple bouts of voluntarily testing the trap and definitely not being bad at my job, Custodian then shows us the venerable mechano-crawler that discovered that oil all that time ago, and while Custodian's been hitting it with a hammer every evening, it is unfortunately still not working. Up this ladder to the side is Custodian's brand new and recently renovated Night Elf Vacation House Dream Home. Please, Custodian says, use caution on the ladder, although they do take the time to remind me that since this has been painted yellow and black, I cannot sue them if I were to fall off of it. At the top of the ladder is a convenient rope used to pull ourselves up, and here we can see the original entrance and window for this property. Custodian had to nail them both shut due to disagreements with the local HOA, which happens to call itself the Sentinels. They had to barricade the entrance, they say, because every time they open the door, the HOA throws a big metal triangle at their head, which actually makes this one of the better HOAs I've ever experienced. The rocket on the table here is actually an emergency exit rocket with a saddle equipped for effective exit in case of emergencies. Coming into the main room itself, we're first met with Mr. Electric Skull Guy from the boxing ring's more chill and laid-back cousin, Barrel Hat Skull Guy. He tastes green instead of blue if you were curious, and yes, I was curious, so yes, I tested it. Mwah. And in the center is Custodian's vintage moonwell, which they have successfully converted into a disco continental breakfast, functional both day and night. Off to the side is Custodian's Pandaren library, where they store all of the goods they've legally imported from Pandaria, as well as this barrel of mysterious green liquid. Meanwhile, on the other side is Custodian's slightly depressing but still quite comfortable, except when it's cold because the floors are made of marble, bathroom. Unfortunately, the toilet itself is currently non-flushing on account of they can't figure out how to get the pipes all the way over here from the bathtub. Also, it needs a vent. And finally, in the back is Custodian's master bedroom with security grating to prevent sentinel incursion. The SGTPSI for short. Custodian says they don't know how to pronounce it, but lucky for you, I do. It's pronounced 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 for short. Off to the left is Custodian's thermostat, which, as they explain, requires quite a bit of innovation to install in a night elf home. The humidity has been wreaking havoc on the vintage floorboards, which is why we can see some of the wood pieces are out of place. Well, that and the fact that Custodian has been selling them to Vulpera craftspeople. Turns out you can make 11.5 cutting boards from just one of these Night Elf bad boy beams. To the right is Dog's vacation bed. It's a little more extravagant than the one that they have at home. After all, it's important to keep Dog comfortable at this property on account of him liking to sneak out through the floorboards and attack the HOA. For those of you wondering, the unicorn figurines on the shelf here are actually not the originals. These are replicas here on account of the HOA being a little more aggressive. They're not just for show, however. These replicas are actually made out of cement, which makes them great to throw at the sentinels in case of an emergency. And finally, this hatch over here is the secondary emergency exit in case of if the rocket with the saddle on it comically fails and leaves you sitting in a saddle on the table.